Okay, the demons of the Los Angeles Police Department are flying in circles and amplifying this activity inside of my apartment, and they've been doing so for a prolonged period. While the entity is engaging in what is group stalking in relevant position, Figure 8, third-party group stalker, a real estate company, and Sarah Chambliss, a third-party group stalker, documented engaging in the state's criminal system that you see LAPD engaging in right now. She's crossing path under the light source that's remaining outside of my leasing office for an excess of 6 hours at the same property, which is a specific environment. She's walking under the light source that's hovering over building 1802, and I captured screen video so that you can see that. This is the entity engaging in what is very severely demonic, first of all, and it's the criminal monitoring conduct, and they're doing so in relevant position to me while the light source is hovering over the property. There is no sun that's ever going to be over Alvarado Gardens while the sun is remaining present, for example, over the Upland Public Library. This is a matter of conclusive documentation. The entity is also maintaining a light source from here from the beginning to the day, rising it in alignment to me and setting it in alignment to me, which is not the natural environment. This is not only the criminal conduct, this is the outward demonstration of demon possession. As you also see the entity exhibiting where the third parties such as Universal Waste cross path in the same way that LAPD is crossing path, and while Universal Waste cross path on the roads and the highways driving by a building, engineered light moves all across that building, which is the outward demonstration of demon possession as well. This is what the entity is doing right now. Engineered light fills my apartment. The light source is over my apartment. Engineered light is covering all over the property. None of this is sunlight. The entity is maintaining the ongoing specific environment while these demons are engaging in monitoring. And the reason why I'm referencing what is Sarah Chambliss is because she's sending an email, which is criminal monitoring. This is how the passive aggressive, demon possessed, hostile demons who know that they're being documented, who engaged in waging a physical attack. Let me be clear. Sarah Chambliss is going to be documented, and she's going to federal prison. You're understanding what's a physical attack by an entity. This is the entity that's physically attacking you in the same environment where the sun is present at 5:21 p.m. This is not the sun. This is not sunlight where the LAPD is flying in circles. Okay, the entity is engaging in what is very demonic. This is terrorism in America, America's version of terrorism, while they're keeping an American citizen under surveillance. And Sarah Chambliss is engaged in what is federal stalking on the venue of the internet, sending an email through speaker companies, including Don Noggle, third party of speaker companies. Speaker companies itself is a third party, and they are engaging in what is monitoring on the venue of the internet, which is sent to my email. And I'm capturing images of that. I'm going to take a screenshot of it because it's occurring at the same time that the entity is here in relevant position, group stalking me. This is how the entity acts in concert with the entity that physically surrounds me, and they together engage in that criminal system. This is why you have what are phone conversations that I've documented on video, and I'm speaking to third parties such as Kimberly Fletcher of speaker companies, and I'm speaking to third parties such as Maria Solis Alvarez of speaker companies, and I'm speaking to third parties such as Selena Robledo of speaker companies, and I'm speaking to third parties such as Don Noggle, and the entity is directly above my office, engaging with flying over my office. What you want to pay attention to is the entity is engaging in what is targeting conduct by virtue of their position, and engaging in what is very on its face entirely peculiar. Peculiar is synonymous with what is, first of all, you need to recognize as demonic, and this is the activity creation by the people walking by under the light source. I want you to see this is a demon that's crossing path, going to the trash can. That's monitoring right here, walking to the trash can is called crossing path, and they're doing so in concert with the entity that's group stalking. This locates currently, again, 12 p.m. The entity is engaging in this conduct, which is, again, hostility that's communicated by demons. This pacing conduct is what the entity does in engineered light. This is what demons do, and this is what an entity is doing as a group. I want to be clear, you witnessed pacing while this entity was physically attacking me yesterday, and these are demons that are right now pacing, walking in the parking lot here, walking right here. These demons are pacing. This is what's occurring, and you're looking at LAP that's flying in a circle. This is the same pacing. This is the demon-possessed population that engaged in assault and battery as an entity engaged in criminal monitoring. Remember, group stalking, criminal monitoring is demonic activity. So I'm giving you what is the demonic context of the activity that you're looking at. That shadow is light activity. This demon is walking under a light source that is not the sun. And this is also a psychopath. The mental illness is exhibited while the entity is maliciously and secretly engaging in what is monitoring someone else, seeking to maintain an outward appearance as though it's life as usual. You are clearly aware of that, which is nothing other than to the, to the contrary. It's conduct like this, which is a pattern by the LAPD, flying in circles all around my apartment, documented on many occasions, also engaging in what is the ongoing physical witnessed yesterday. The same environment, I want to be clear, you're looking at the light activity. You see the United States Postal Service, their group stalking, and the light source, the shadow of that vehicle is speaking to the zenith presence of the light source. It's right here over the property. There is no sun that's going to be present over the same property, at 5 p.m., 5:21 p.m. which is what you saw. And so for purposes of understanding the significance of exactly what I'm giving you context to, this entity that engaged in a physical attack acting via third-party group stalker Gabriel Arriaga Carbajal, this is the same entity that you see Sarah Chambliss group stalking under the light source that's still present in at the same address where the sun is so-called rising. That's not the natural environment. This is a demonic environment. It is literally a scientific impossibility. It's also a scientific impossibility that sunlight moves across buildings as you're driving a car. That's what is the pattern of conduct. And demons are engaging in the pattern of conduct while they're pacing. You witness pacing in the engineered light while demons using helicopters, which is what the corrupt law enforcement agencies do in the specific environment where they're stalking the targeted individual. They do so in helicopters, and pacing is accomplished as they fly in circles for prolonged periods of time as well. And I've documented multiple police departments engaging in this very conduct in the specific environment. Okay, so this is that which is directly contrasted to the outward demonstration of demon possession by the Ontario Police Department, where the entity engaged in what is rising and setting a sun, which is not the natural environment, but that's the specific environment that you are going to juxtapose with what the entity is maintaining here, and you're looking at the outward demonstration of demon possession by the corrupt law enforcement agencies who are also stalking in helicopters in that same specific environment. I want to be clear, these demons are the ones that were engaging in waging a physical attack yesterday. Every license plate that I documented, group stalking, driving in the engineered light, under that light source that's still over this property as a matter of documentation on video yesterday at 5:21 p.m., every single last third party is going to federal prison. This is the corrupt entity that's threatening your life, stalking you in helicopters, and by the way, where that entity is attacking you and then engaging what is criminally summoning this same entity, who is also documented engaging in what is kidnapping, and then engaging in what are waging false allegations, and then acting in concert with the documented group stalkers and equally demon-possessed sheriff's departments. Okay, and then kidnapping in the courts where the entity is maintaining the same specific environment, where, by the way, each and every single last one, there is no natural environment where the sun is going to be over that any courthouse in Los Angeles, by the way, for example, because the entity is keeping it directly over my apartment and directly over my office for the duration of the day. That makes no provision for the sun to ever be over the Metro Courthouse. And to document that is to show what is the pattern of conduct by the state of California, and it is also to expose the secret condition of those in that environment. And this is the demon-possessed population who are in the courts. They are working for the sheriff's departments, and as you see here, there are demons that are working for the police departments, and they are acting in concert with the people of the state. Okay, you see there's no respecter of persons. The United States Postal Service documented day in and out. They're engaged in systematic maintenance with the LAPD, and this is a show of hostility and aggression while they're making themselves visibly seen while the entity communicates a threat, which is what the demons do, pacing all around you in that specific environment. They also exhibit hostility while they do so with engineered light, as you've seen Tiffany Sherez doing so in concert with the same demon-possessed law enforcement agency. They act in concert. They're doing so again while they are waging physical attacks yesterday. That entity is acting vicariously on behalf of this entity. All right, Gabriel Arriaga Carbajal did not engage in what is a physical attack as an individual. He did so as the corrupt entity that's keeping one under surveillance in concert with the state of California that engages in a pattern of very highly disturbing and revelatory with regard to the mental illness of the demon-possessed that are in position of law enforcement, criminally surveilling American citizens, which is the system that I'm documenting right now. Okay, they're doing so on an ongoing basis. I want to be clear, this is currently 12:05 p.m. and Sarah Chambliss is engaged in federal stalking. She's sending an email, which is the ongoing surveillance that's underway by this entity, and she's doing so. Not only is she documenting group stalking in relevant position, she's documenting engaging in the state's criminal system on the venue of the internet in violation of Title 18. Okay, this is the third party who's heavily documented engaging in the pattern of conduct in concert with that law enforcement agency, and she's going to federal prison. She's creating light activity, and she's crossing path, and the amplified helicopter activity is accomplishing monitoring right now. And I want to be clear, she is the same entity documented engaging in what is the assault and battery by an entity that is group stalking. Okay, that's the entity that physically attacks you is the entity that goes to federal prison together. It is currently 12:06 p.m. And this is what the entity has been doing. Again, Sarah Chambliss sent an email. This is relevant to Title 18 criminal conduct at the same time that this entity was at 11:41 flying in circles, and they're still continuously doing so at 12:06. So this is in excess of 20 minutes, just like the entity did in front of my living room window for 47 minutes, flying in circles, just like you saw them doing, flying in relevant position to me over building 1800. That was approximately 30 to 35 minutes. And just like you saw them flying in circles in relevant position to me over here, over Silverview Townhomes for a prolonged period. That was about 10 to 15 minutes. I also documented them flying in circles directly above my apartment building. This is what the demon-possessed do as a show of aggression, and the entity is doing so. I want to be clear, this is understanding the public threat, the public health safety concern, showing that impunity, monitoring you in plain view, or monitoring the documentation, and the entity is right in front of your face. This is a warning to the world, understanding what's actually going on, not only in California, but this is what's going on in the United States, and this is speaking to what is a matter of public corruption that's being exposed in this country regarding what is the criminal violation of American citizens' constitutional rights and their human rights. And then upon enforcing it, exposing not only their criminal conduct, but their secret condition, the fact that they're not ordinary criminals, they're demon-possessed ones. And that condition is revealed through their criminal conduct, which is a pattern amongst them. Indiscriminate of face or a specific identity, the identical behavioral pattern is what links the entity together. The scientific impossibility with regard to that specific environment is what links them all together. And this is the demon-possessed population, and that is the exhibiting the threat that they being the entity that, again, they're in the position of law enforcement, and they are demonstrating mental illness. And this is a mentally deranged state actor who is stalking an American citizen in plain view, and doing so also federal stalking in concert with the people of the state, and the people of the state are going to be directly prosecuted for this evidence that's being gathered as a matter of a pattern all around me, where the entity is maintaining a light source for the duration of the day and stalking via directed light inside and all around outside my apartment. This video documentation of the entity that they are group stalking with is going to be used against the people of the state. All 59 units here are going to federal prison, but I want to be clear that the third-party group stalkers documented yesterday engaging in what is assault and battery as an entity on behalf of this corrupt government, engaged in what is a physical attack while they were group stalking together in the specific environment. They're all going to federal prison, and this is the evidence that's going to be used against every single last one of them. That system does not cease. It does not take a pause, so there is no separation behind some iteration of the P.O.C. as opposed to some other episode that was documented, for example, in 2019. That's not how criminal conduct works, and that's not how an ongoing course of conduct within an ongoing conspiracy that exists between a government that's corrupt and the people in that state acting with that entity. You're going to prosecute for the totality of that criminal act. So I want to make sure that you understand that it's 12:09 p.m. This is the psychotic behavioral pattern. This is revealing what is the obsession. This is also the outward demonstration, understand of what is demon possession. This is also understanding what is recognizing targeting. You're recognizing the fact that the LAPD is targeting me because the light source is directly over my apartment. You're recognizing what is targeting by the Los Angeles Police Department because they're engaged in a pattern on its face of doing this all around me everywhere that I go. And I've also documented this by other police departments. Again, group stalking, following me from place to place, flying in circles like psychopaths. But I want to be clear, it's not just weird. This is the entity that is engaged in what is this is a demon that's doing this back and forth, and that's a demon honking their horn as I put my hand up and start making a new movement. Okay, that's the demonic. And you're looking at the demonic pace around in a helicopter, and you're looking at the demonic that are stalking and targeting me while the light source is directly over my apartment. That includes the United States Postal Service. Okay, that's the Abundances. Those are demons that are sounding, creating audible activity. Ryan Abundance and Clarissa Abundance, who you saw engaging in what is group stalking while the light source is documented at 10:46 in the morning, nowhere near Alvarado Gardens. It's remaining directly over my hotel room in Ontario, California at 231 South Euclid Avenue, where you're looking at the state, just like you see the state stalking here. You saw the state group stalking under the light source that's nowhere near being over Alvarado Gardens at the same time. You saw the Ontario Fire Department, you saw the San Bernardino Sheriff's Department, and you saw the American Medical Response state actors group stalking, just like you see the Los Angeles Police Department group stalking, where there is no sun that's going to be over that hotel room directly over my head, nor will there be any sun over Alvarado Gardens, the light source where Ryan and Clarissa Abundance are group stalking, and their demons exhibiting that while they are acting with simultaneity to my engaging in new movement, honking their horn, which is audible activity in the engineered light. These demons are going to federal prison. They were documented engaging in what is an assault and battery as an entity engaged in the P.O.C., and they're also acting in accordance to what is the demonic feature, stalking, following with noise, and engineered light. light. They are doing so pursuant to a well-documented pattern of conduct while the entity is out in plain sight, group stalking in a helicopter like LAPD is doing every single day. Okay, this is nothing new, but I want to be clear. The entity is engaging in what is an ongoing threat to your life, and I'm revealing what is the public safety concern of a demon-possessed population that is physically attacking you and then kidnapping you as though they have probable cause, as though they do not already know who you are while they're targeting you on an ongoing basis. Okay, that's the psychopaths. And these are sex offenders whose children will be taken from their custody because of the threat that they pose not only to the public, not only to the target individual, but to those children themselves who they've included in that criminal conduct, which is what you saw Clarissa Abundance doing, using those children as activity creators while the light source hovered above me. And this same police department was group stalking in helicopter, not flying in relevant position over here, but flying in relevant position over my office, as I documented. That's why Clarissa Abundance and Ryan Abundance are going to federal prison. And that's the ongoing documentation of what is the state as I documented it in April of 2022, the same time of year at the same exact time, and that which is not possibly the sun is remaining over my head. It's remaining let me be clear, that is the entity group stalking. They're surrounding on both sides over here, Silverview Townhomes, that's USPS. They're group stalking. The entity is engaging in what is ongoing evidence against the people of the state, against the entirety of the state of California, and you're recognizing targeting by the maintenance of the light source. There is no sun that's going to be over me at Economy Inn, but you do have a pattern of stalking in helicopters. And the entity is doing so in a very specific environment. This is the light source. And remember, it's over the front part because I walked over here. While I'm outside in the back of my apartment where the bedroom is, the light source is hovering over there. Okay, it's just that I can't put my hand out my window and show you. But you've seen as I go to the front of the apartment, the light source is over here. And as I walk to the back of the apartment, the light source remains over. This is the pattern of conduct. And this is how you know that the Los Angeles Police Department is group stalking me, engaging in terrorizing me, and engaging in what is to the world for you to understand what demonic activity looks like, what demon possession looks like, and how you are recognizing targeting while an entity is stalking in helicopter and maintaining that specific environment over you. Lorraine Pena is group stalking while you're looking at her crossing path, creating light activity while the amplification of helicopter activity is underway. Sarah Chambliss is engaging in federal stalking on the venue of the internet while the entity is amplifying inside of my apartment helicopter activity, and demons are repeatedly pacing around in a circle, being outwardly demons, all right, in the same way you're outwardly being a demon, which is terrorism you're going to prosecute for, while the entity is maintaining the light source over you and flying in a circle in relevant position to you, which is a demon that is doing this, pacing. Okay, group stalkers engage in this psychotic conduct of pacing by doing so in traffic. You're just looking at a bunch of people. They're all crawling around. They're cockroaches in the spirit. They're all driving around. They're all walking around. They're all engaging in what is activity together. This is what's actually going on, which you don't understand. They're demons, and this is what's the demon possessed, the mentally ill, because that's the mental illness, and that's the conduct that you don't see, but you do see it. When a demon is flying in a circle, they're doing that over the target individual. And it's no secret when you're looking at the light source that remains over you. That's how you're recognizing that. And that's what the Los Angeles Police Department is doing while Sarah Chambliss and Figure 8 and speaker companies via email are engaged in federal stalking on the venue of the internet. And the people of the state are still engaging in what is, after an assault and battery by an entity engaging in the pattern of conduct, are still to this day engaging in what is an impermissible threat, group stalking in your face. That includes Ryan and Clarissa Abundance with their minor children, Lorena Pena, who you see crossing path, creating light activity, also being a demon stalking. That's with simultaneity. That's how you understand the targeting of the audible activity. It's with simultaneity to what the target individual does while that specific environment remains directly over you. That is the demonic feature. That is something that they all share together. This is the ongoing environment that surrounds you, and that is terrorism by a demon-possessed population who also engages in what is an assault and battery as an entity because they are demons hostile to the fact that you're documenting them while psychopaths ask you why are you or did you take a picture, and they know exactly because they're monitoring. Not only on the venue of the internet, but they're group stalking. Those are monitoring spirits. Those are demons on those people. And that's how they have that demonic ability to stalk you, that is follow you, that is create with simultaneity audible activity as you engage in any new movement. And you saw that on video. Rewind the tape and you will see the moment that I move my hand like this and start doing this. Immediately the demon, that is Ryan Abundance or Clarissa, depending on whoever's driving, they honk the horn. That's creation of audible activity. That's how you're monitoring, and that's a demon. And you also know that it's a demon, and this, you're recognizing targeting by the maintenance of the specific environment. Okay, that's P.O.C. And that was the Los Angeles Police Department's demonstration, not only of demon possession for the world to learn. You learn about that, you know what it looks like, but it's also going to be a matter of prosecution for state terrorism. While they're keeping an American citizen under surveillance, they're engaging in a sex offense because it's in the private space. And this is the entity that you witnessed engage in what is an assault and battery as an entity, just like I stated on tape. That was the LAPD that physically attacked me. The state of California, the entity, attacked me in the specific environment. Let me be clear. You're looking at the light source over my apartment. It's 12:15 in the afternoon. At 5:21 p.m., I'm at the same address on this street and that light source is hovering over me. That's the specific environment. That is non-movement of the light source, but it does move as I move. But it's remaining where I remain all day long. That is not the natural environment. And literally, as you saw that light source, literally on Alvarado Street, that is speaking to the exclusion of the sun being over anybody else in any other location nor any other state. And this is the ongoing asininity of stalking with an environment. The demon possessed are highly malicious. They are entirely psychotic, but they are not intelligent. And all you have to do is become aware, and then you can see that which is invisible yourself. There is nothing hidden about stalking in a helicopter anymore, because the entity thought beforehand, before the P.O.C. in other words, that you can follow somebody around in helicopter, and the target individual who is going to be kidnapped and criminally defamed in the first place is, first of all, never going to be hurt and discarded. But second of all, you can't establish that you're being stalked because they're in a helicopter, because they're above, they're in the sky. And how can you narrow it down to you? You're a paranoid schizophrenic. That's the pattern of conduct. That's the malice of the demon possessed, that physically attack you, run up, pursue you down the street, and then say that you hit them. That's what that demon Gabriel Arriaga Carbajal engaged in. That's the demon possessed entity. But I want to be clear, you're recognizing the targeting through the environment, the demonic light activity, the maintenance of the light source. You see it directly over my apartment. That's the recognition that the stalker is, LAPD. And I want to let you know, they're also letting you know that they're demons by them flying in a circle. They're doing this. A psychotic, weirdo, freak, stalker paces in front of you, which is what a demon really wants to do. That's really what they want to do. And I want to tell you the truth. When this entity kidnapped me several times, this is exactly what those demons were doing. And they do this openly weird and demonic behavior because they have you locked up and they are assuming you're never going to get out. No one's ever going to listen to you. And under those circumstances, Satan shows his true colors. Okay, this demon-possessed population that is engaging in federal group stalking and monitoring creates a public safety concern. They are the mentally ill. They truly are. Very, very deranged and threatening, because it's so psychotic, with that personality defect, with that devoid of any sense of normalcy or any ability to stop itself, that obsession, okay, that absurdly creepy conduct of stalking, and then the demons that want to do some weird pacing in front of you. That's what they're accomplishing by flying in a circle. And you can recognize a stalker in the specific environment. The sun is over me, and that's not even the sun. You're understanding that's the light source that's over me. So you're understanding, number one, what I'm showing you, it's not the natural environment. So we're not going to speak in terms of fables. That's not the natural environment. That's not the sun. Point number one. Point number two, where is the light source? The light source is over me. That's how you recognize the stalker. That's what they just engaged in. And this is while Sarah Chambliss is, again, group stalking, engaged in federal stalking specifically on the video of the internet, which I'm going to upload because that's a federal offense as well. Sarah Chambliss is a documented group stalker. And this is how an exceedingly hostile entity that's mad because I'm documenting them step by step, that's mad because their acts of violence is still going to be used against them. You're not going to kidnap me. None of this violence that they're engaging, I'm going to use all of it. I want to be clear. The demon possessed that has wicked plans, they get hostile and they do more. That's the public safety threat. But that's what that's about. Those demons are very hostile and they engage in more to their own demise. But this is serving for the good of the public, because you need to learn. You need to see. You need to recognize. Okay, it's currently 12:19 p.m. and that's the maintenance of the light source over my apartment, over my head, while you're looking at the ongoing significance of what I was flying in a circle. That's a demon that's pacing back and forth. And they're doing that flying over Silverview townhomes. And where is that in relevant position to me? A demon that's pacing back and forth. And they're doing it by flying over building 1802 in relevant position to me. They're pacing back and forth. They were doing that right above my apartment as I documented, flying in circles directly above me. That's relevant position to me. They're pacing back and forth. They did that outside of my living room window, in front of my living room window for 47 minutes. They were pacing back and forth. That's what they were doing right now in relevant position to me. Again, this is in relevant position, in alignment. They're pacing back and forth. Those are demons. Demons are doing that. You're recognizing demons. It's not just the fact that you're pacing. It's in the specific environment where the engineered light is. That's what makes all conduct, all activity, all behavior significant. When you're recognizing demonic activity, you're in the unnatural environment. You're looking at that engineered light. You're looking at that light source, not the sun. Then you're looking at with revelation, you understand the significance of everything you're looking at. And the demons, you understand the objective. They want to pace. They are the mentally ill. They are the ticking time bombs that are surrounding. They're free right now in society, many of whom do not even have a criminal record. That's not how you're going to recognize them. Okay, they're going to a 9 to 5. They have a job. All right, they've got a so-called steady career, whatever it is that you think is normal, whatever you think is the four square. No, that's not how you recognize this at all. The demon possessed want to maintain an appearance of normalcy, create no troubling waters, to be above suspicion. But that's a very threatening condition, and they are keeping American citizens under surveillance. And so there is that purpose. What you just saw was ongoing surveillance in plain sight. Okay, the overweight Latina female, she goes to 18044 with the Mataquins. She's heavily documented. She's engaging in group stalking, a series of federal offenses, and she was documented engaging in what is an assault and battery as an entity engaged in federal stalking. At the same time that the entity is engaging in psychotic behavior while the light source is over you. Understand how that was multiple threats ongoing that the targeted individual has a right to not be subject to. That is grounds of very serious federal prosecution. And they're just doing it just willy-nilly. Okay, this is how you're going to treat this. This is how you, and because this is the reality of what they are doing. That's the reality of it. Okay, so you're understanding the demonic purpose. This I'm recognizing. I'm teaching you. I'm explaining to you malice. I'm explaining to you malice. Because of that level of malice, the malicious suppose you can group stalk somebody in plain sight. You will find yourself in federal prison, and I advocate for a very long time. Federal stalking, let me be clear, the federal statute calls for the time in federal prison, or the punishment depends on the severity of the crime. It does not get any more severe, ladies and gentlemen, than the government keeping you under surveillance. That in and of itself calls for a prolonged time in federal prison. It is no small thing. Any aspect, no facet of this crime is minor or small or minute at all. Nothing is being hyperbolic. You saw an entity attack yesterday. That could have gone many other ways. I just want to point that out to you. That could have gone many other ways. And I'm documenting it. You need to understand the ordinary target individual that's not even documented. And you see how audacious they are in the face of documentation. In the face of documentation. That's a threat to your life. Ordinary target individuals that are not documenting, where it is occurring in the secret, people getting beat up and killed, and then it's reported on the news as a mystery. Nobody knows what's happened. No witnesses. This system is how those type of things happen. That's how that happens. That's a threat to your life. They are openly being demons flying in a circle. That's highly demonic. And that's how you're going to recognize the threat to your life, because you are analyzing the environment. Everything about it is speaking to the truth of what you're looking at. Okay. And I want to be clear. I mean, I don't even understand why you would openly engage in that clearly weird, that's facially odd conduct. Why would you do that? Let me tell you something. The demon possessed don't have any other ideas. They never made a plan for it. In other words, Satan never made a plan for it to be found out. So then when you're found out, what does Satan do? More of the same. You do more demonic stuff. You do more threatening activity. And with regard to the P.O.C., now you're just going to spend more time in federal prison. You're going to get more and more federal repercussions. You'll never have anything to do with law enforcement. You will be the poster child for understanding demonic activity amongst law enforcement agencies. You will never be able to hold a weapon or apply for one or be in law enforcement in any jurisdiction in the U.S., et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, it is currently 12:24 p.m. This is P.O.C. Again, Sarah Chambliss. I'm going to upload that. That's federal stalking by speaker companies and Figure 8 and Sarah Chambliss. That simultaneity of conduct. They also do it on the venue of the internet, not just in person. This is how the passive aggressive psychopaths, the demon possessed, act as one. Okay, it is again 12:24 p.m. and this is P.O.C.